Everybody, my name is Marcelo Morim. Okay, good afternoon everybody. My name is Marcelo Morim. I'm from Graphisoft, Singapore. I'm an architect by training and I'm the business development manager here. So basically I work together with our key accounts, both in education, government agencies and clients. And I have together with me Carlo Riveral. He's also an architect by training. He was practicing in one of the Singaporean firms, very famous one. And he just joined Graphisoft to do similar job as me, going around with the clients and help them, whoever is using Archicad, so also in the education sector. So today we're going to showcase how you can use the technology and how we can, we'll also see some case studies of existing clients, how they use the solutions available in the market, how they integrate them to be able to deliver better projects and better designs. So I hope this will inspire you for your competition. In the beginning I will show more also on the IDD workflow, which is what the government is focusing a little bit on this competition. So IDD stands for Integrated Digital Delivery. So basically it's how we're going to design digitally across different stages, from design, manufacturing, construction, and even operation of the building. So this first slide will show how digitally we can put all the information in one building. We can start with the mass modeling, checking what are the areas that we have on each floor. We can document it with different colors. Then when we start checking the real building elements, we can check what are the properties for the windows, properties for the slabs. And also check, for example, the acoustic rating that elements have. We can use the connection. You see that we have a spreadsheet, and we can key in what are the values that we want to push back to the BIM model. I'll also showcase a few of these examples when we go for the training. And once we finish the project, we can bring it into a tablet or into a mobile device and use that as a presentation tool. Instead of bringing the computer, you can just present it on a mobile device. So pretty much you see that the building is not just the geometry, what we see in it. There's a lot of information that we have to give to it. It's not just the textures or the color or the shape. We might have a lot of intentions that we want to transmit to the building as a property. So fire rating, acoustic rating, all this kind of information. So this is part of the IDD process, and what is the idea behind this? You have in the center of all this process, you will have one building or your design that will be the BIM data, and actually you can make the one being integrated with all the different stakeholders. And basically, it's not just the technology. The technology in this case is developed by Graphisoft or other software developers, but you also need to have the people willing to try all these things. That's why we have you here. And the other thing is the process. So you will see that with different tools, people can come up with very different results. Not just in terms of design, is you might want to go and showcase a very green building that will have a very sustainable approach to the design, or you might want to go and have a very funky building where the shape that comes out of it is going to be your key factor to win the competition. So it really depends on how you want to focus and to what process you're going to take. In this case, as our solution ecosystem, what Graphisoft has is we have Archicad as the authoring tool. This is where you can create the building, where you generate the geometry. Then we have the BIM data management tool, which is called the BIM Cloud. This basically allows multiple users, so as a team like you guys are, to work together in one single model or in one single project at the same time. It's almost like Google Docs or Google Spreadsheets that you can have multiple people editing. And then we have the BIM Data Access solution, which is called the BIMX. You guys can download BIMX into your mobile device. It's free. Archicad, you can find, you can get a student version. I imagine you already got the link to download all this. And basically, once you have this thing set up, you can see that you can connect also to other softwares. For example, we have the Rhino Grasshopper connection. We'll be experimenting that later on the workshop. We also have other solutions that are focused on OpenBIM, so you can connect with any other softwares that you're good at. It could be SketchUp, it could be Revit, it could be whatever you want. There's always a big chunk of information that you can bring in from one side to the other. And then there's also like some smaller solutions inside Archicad, like the Cine Render, that allows you to render inside Archicad directly, instead of you having to export to another rendering software for that. Okay, so this slide is going to be a bit heavy, but it's to show you how wide or how broad can be the approach to IDD. So you see, for this we have the 4 different stages: design, manufacturing, assembly, and asset management. So basically on design, we want to come up with a better design for the building. Then that building will have to be manufactured. So we manufacture different components of the building. And then those will be assembled. So it will be built. All the pieces will be put into place. And then all these different pieces that make part of a building. It can be a lamp, it can be a railing, it can be stairs, it can be walls, it can be the floor. All of this has to be managed throughout the building life cycle, and we need to know the information also about these elements. So as you see, Archicad and the BIM Cloud, being Archicad the authoring tool and being BIM Cloud the collaboration tool, are able to perform the whole life cycle of this IDD workflow. But if we connect with other tools, we actually can do a better job, because there's other tools that are specific for certain purposes. So for example, you can use Rhino Grasshopper for the computational design. You can use a preliminary design mass model that you've done in SketchUp and you want to bring it here. You can use energy analysis that is built in Archicad to do the energy evaluation, to know how much energy that building is consuming. And you see that within the second ribbon out of this circle, we have the OpenBIM circle. That means that if you're having multiple, if you have even other softwares do any kind of deliverable that you want to achieve, you can connect with anyhow. Most of the times, IFC file format, 3ds, there's always a way that you can export out and then work together with it. So on the other three areas, we also have other solutions. I won't go too much in detail into this because your focus for this competition will be design, and design with a focus on manufacturing, and I'll cover that in the next slides. So basically, what you need to keep in the back of your mind is that Archicad can deliver these 4 areas, plus if you want to connect with other softwares, you always have OpenBIM approach to connect with the other tools. Okay, so in terms of our company overview, I don't want to be very extensive about this. In case you never heard of Archicad before, it's not that it's a very recent software. This started in '82 in Hungary, and very interesting, our founder was friends of Steve Jobs. So we went to US, and Steve Jobs gave him a few computers where you could program Archicad to run on Mac. At the time, this was, I think, before all of you were born. So at the time, the computers, they didn't have a graphic interface. It was like a calculator that just gave you a few numbers or text. And Mac had a graphic interface, so if you wanted to draw a line, you would see the line coming up. So that's why our founder decided to start developing it for Mac. So in '84, the first version came out, and actually you already had a 3D software where you draw a wall, you punch a hole, which is a window, you punch a hole that is a door, and it's pretty amazing considering that even some design offices are only doing 2D these days. So if you consider that in '84, 35 years ago, they were already doing it, it's pretty amazing. And then in 2007, our company was acquired by the Nemetschek Group. It's the biggest software group in Europe. So then they became part of a very important and respected software group. So you can see this is a picture of our campus in Hungary. There's a statue, the first statue of Steve Jobs was actually made there. So these are some brands from the Nemetschek Group. Obviously, the connection between these softwares and Archicad are more deeply integrated because they belong to the same group. So we always try to have a live connection. So we have the Maxon rendering engine is built in Archicad. We have a live SolidBrick connection, a live DRufus connection. So everything that you do in one software can be seen on both sides. We're also based in almost every country in the world. We have 85 distributors, 11 subsidiaries. And the important thing for you guys is that in Singapore, we are direct here. So we get closer feedback and from the market, and we work closer with the market as well. So what is the main focus of using a BIM tool is instead of you starting with just 2D drawings and then going through the different project stages and somewhere in the middle deliver a BIM model. This is pretty much what everybody was practicing as a BIM workflow in the beginning of their careers. But the idea should be that you have BIM data as the backbone of your process. So even if you start with a mass model, you can start directly as BIM because you need to ask the model for information like what is the area, what is the volume, what is the orientation that I have from this facade or on that facade, is this one exposed to sun or not? So all this information is pretty important even if you're in the early stage of the design. So throughout different stages of design, you can see that Archicad is like the platform for this. BIM Cloud is the collaboration platform, so if you're working more than one person, you should use the BIM Cloud for it. And we have different solutions that go throughout the different project stages that you can focus more, and OpenBIM is always there to back you up if you want to do some work on site. In terms of content, We have been working very extensively in Singapore to develop a lot of dedicated content to this region. Mostly you guys can connect to our Asia BIM blog, so it's a blog that we created here where we answer some of the queries. For example, you have the points for the terrain and where you're going to do the design, and you want to bring it into Archicad. You only have the X, Y, Z coordinates. We have there an article to show you how you can do that. So we try to focus and have approaches on what our clients, students, or what in the region people are looking into. Then we also have a Facebook page. We have other guides, most of them for the practice. But for example, we have the one on the bottom right from Revit to Archicad to BMX, where basically if you want to use BMX as a presentation tool, even if you want to design with Revit, fine. You just export it through IFC, bring it to Archicad and to BMX then. I will share with you some of these materials when we go for the training, because I think that they're very useful to you. So all this, the focus for this is to give you know-how, so if you're stuck, you don't know what to do, you can always go to the Graphisoft Help Center or go to our blog or go through these documents to find out the solution. Okay, so basically I already mentioned what Archicad is and does. Here is the description of it. Again, the idea is to have a building, so you create a model and then all the documentation, the drawings, the renderings, the information comes from the model. You don't create all this information first and then you go, okay, now let's model it. That's not the focus, it's exactly the other way around. So you can go through